Admiral Hyunwoo floated in the command center of the Silent Guardian, watching the stars through what looked like a broken piece of space junk. To anyone outside, his station appeared to be nothing more than debris from an old satellite collision. They had no idea that inside this fake wreckage sat one of humanity's most advanced warships. The Admiral checked his watch. 3 hours until the alien ship would arrive. They had been tracking it for weeks as it moved slowly toward Earth. The aliens thought they were being careful, but humans had been watching them for 30 years. "Sir, the Catamaran is right on schedule," said Captain Dong-min from his station. His fingers moved quickly over the hidden controls. "They still have no idea we can see them." Hyunwoo smiled. The aliens had been studying Earth since 2127, thinking humans were just primitive creatures who barely knew how to fly in space. They were wrong about that. Very wrong. Dr. So-young looked up from her screens. She had been studying alien technology for most of her adult life. "Their ship design hasn't changed in over 200 years, she said. "They think the same old tricks will work on us." The truth was much different. When humanity first detected the alien watchers 30 years ago, everything changed. World leaders came together in secret. They created the Silent Protocol. While the aliens watched from space, humans dug deep underground and built the largest fleet in the galaxy. Engineer Yoonji checked the power systems one more time. Her hands moved over controls that aliens had never seen before. "All systems green, Admiral. The quantum drives are ready. Our weapon systems are charged. We can move when you give the order." The Silent Guardian was just one of thousands of ships hidden throughout the solar system. Some looked like asteroids. Others were disguised as old space stations. A few were even painted to look like comets. The aliens had been watching Earth for 3 decades and never noticed that humanity was watching them back. Hyunwoo remembered the day everything started. He was just a young pilot then, flying cargo runs between Earth and Mars. That was before Mars became a giant shipyard, before Venus was hollowed out to build the largest ships ever made, before the moon became humanity's greatest weapon factory. "Admiral," Dong-min said quietly, "we're getting reports from the other hidden stations. Everyone is in position. The Phantom Squadron is ready to move." The Phantom Squadron was Dong-min's pride and joy. 50 of the fastest ships ever built, each one invisible to alien sensors. They had been practicing for this day for years. Every pilot knew exactly what to do when the time came. On the surface of Earth, everything looked normal. Cities buzzed with activity. Cars moved along highways. Planes flew between airports. People went to work and school just like they always had. But underneath the ground, 50 billion humans lived and worked in massive underground cities. The surface was just for show. The alien ship Kethmoran moved closer to Earth. On board, Commander Bae-hyun studied the blue planet through his instruments. To him, it looked exactly like it had 30 years ago. Same cities, same technology, same primitive humans who didn't even know they were being watched. "Sir," said his second officer, "all scans confirm our previous data. The humans show no signs of advanced space travel. Their largest ships are still chemical rockets. They have no weapons that could threaten us." Bae-hyun nodded. "Good. The Council will be pleased. Another world ready for easy conquest. Signal the fleet. Tell them the humans are still as primitive as we expected." What Bae-hyun didn't know was that every signal he sent was being recorded by human listening posts. Dr. So-young and her team had broken alien codes years ago. They knew exactly what the aliens were planning. "They're calling for their main fleet," So-young reported. 200 ships will arrive in 3 days. They plan to demand our surrender. Hyunwoo's smile grew wider. "Perfect. Let them come. We've been ready for 30 years." The preparation had been incredible. Every major nation on Earth had worked together. Old enemies became allies. Resources were shared. The greatest minds in human history had focused on one goal: being ready when the aliens finally showed themselves. Underground, the work never stopped. Massive factories built ships using technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien probes. Engineers studied every piece of alien metal they could find. Scientists worked day and night to understand alien computers and weapons. The results were beyond anything the aliens could imagine. Human ships could repair themselves during battle. Human weapons could adapt to any defense. Human armor could stop attacks that would destroy alien vessels. But the greatest human advantage was something the aliens couldn't detect with any sensor: unity. For the first time in history, all of humanity worked toward the same goal. Every person on Earth knew about the aliens. Every person was ready to defend their world. Yunji ran final checks on their stealth systems. All camouflage holding steady, Admiral. They still think we're space junk. Good, Hyunwoo said. Maintain position. Let them get closer. The catamaran was now only a few thousand kilometers away. Its sensors swept across Earth's orbital space, cataloging every satellite and piece of debris. The alien crew was confident and relaxed. They had done this dozens of times before with other primitive worlds. What they didn't see were the thousands of human ships hiding in plain sight. The Silent Guardian was just one of many fake debris fields. Each one contained enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. Together, they could face any force the galaxy might send. Sir, Dongmin whispered, the catamaran is scanning us directly. Every human on the bridge held their breath. This was the test. If their disguise failed now, 30 years of preparation would be wasted. The aliens would warn their fleet, and humanity would lose the advantage of surprise. The scan passed over them like sunlight through a window. The alien sensors saw exactly what humans wanted them to see: broken metal, dead electronics, and frozen chemicals. Just another piece of space junk in Earth's crowded orbital space. Scan complete, came the report from the catamaran. No threats detected. All debris is inactive. The human bridge crew stayed perfectly still until the alien ship moved on. Only then did they allow themselves to breathe again. Phase 1 complete, Hyunwoo announced quietly. They think we're harmless. Now we wait for their friends to arrive. Dr. So Young was already working on the next phase. I'm monitoring all alien communications. They're very confident. They think this will be another easy conquest. That confidence would be their downfall. The aliens had grown lazy over centuries of easy victories. They always found primitive worlds with simple weapons and scared populations. They had never faced a species that was ready for them. The Silent Protocol had 3 phases. Phase 1 was to remain hidden while gathering intelligence. Phase 2 would begin when the alien fleet arrived. That's when humanity would reveal its true nature. Phase 3 would change the galaxy forever. Admiral, Yunji said, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the underground cities. They're warming up the planetary defense grid. Far below, them hidden weapons that could destroy moons were coming online. Shield generators that could protect entire continents were charging their power cells. Factories that had built ships for 30 years were preparing to launch them all at once. The aliens thought they were approaching a defenseless world. Instead, they were flying into the most heavily defended system in the galaxy. Earth itself had become a fortress world, disguised to look like a garden planet. All stations report ready, Dongmin announced. The Phantom Squadron is in position. Underground cities are sealed and protected. The fleet is ready to launch on your command. Hyunwoo looked at Earth spinning slowly below them. Somewhere down there, his daughter was probably at school, learning about the stars and dreaming of exploring them. Soon she would have that chance. Soon humanity would take its place among the stars. But first they had to survive the next few days. Maintain radio silence, he ordered. Let the aliens think they're in control. When their fleet arrives, we'll show them what humans can really do. The catamaran continued its slow orbit around Earth, scanning and cataloging, completely unaware that it was being watched by thousands of human eyes. Its crew prepared reports for their commanders, describing a weak world ripe for conquest. They had no idea they were about to trigger the greatest surprise in galactic history. Dr. So Young looked at her screens, showing alien fleet movements throughout local space. Admiral, we're detecting movement from 12 different star systems. This isn't just a conquest fleet. They're bringing ships from their entire local network. How many? Hyunwoo asked. Over 800 ships, sir. They're really planning to make a statement with Earth. The Admiral's smile never wavered. Let them come. We've been preparing for this moment for 30 years. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can do. In the depths of space, more alien ships began moving toward Earth. On the surface, humans went about their daily lives, trusting in the protection they couldn't see. And in hidden stations throughout the solar system, thousands of human warriors, prepared for the battle that would decide humanity's future among the stars. The watching was almost over. Soon, it would be time to act. 3 days later, the alien fleet arrived exactly as predicted. 800 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Their formation was perfect, their weapons charged, their confidence absolute. Commander Bae-hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest. Around him, his officers prepared for what they thought would be another easy victory. The reports from the Kethmaran had been clear. Earth was defenseless, its people primitive, their technology centuries behind galactic standards. All ships, report ready, Commander, announced his tactical officer. No resistance detected from the target world. Their orbital space shows only debris and ancient satellites. Bae-hyun nodded with satisfaction. Begin the approach. Standard conquest formation. We'll demand their surrender, then begin the occupation. This should be finished by tomorrow. On Earth, General Yu Jin watched the alien fleet through sensors hidden throughout the solar system. She stood in the deep command center, buried 10 kilometers under the Pacific Ocean. Around her, thousands of officers coordinated humanity's response to the greatest threat in their history. All ships report ready, General, announced her aide, Lieutenant Tae-ho. The Revelation Protocol is prepared for activation on your command. Yu Jin had been planning this moment for 15 years. Every simulation, every war game, every training exercise had led to this day. Humanity had one chance to show the galaxy they were not victims. They had to make it count. Signal Admiral Hyun-woo, she ordered. Begin Phase 2. High above Earth, the silent Guardian received the coded transmission. Admiral Hyun-woo turned to his crew with a smile that had been 30 years in the making. Attention, all hands, he announced over the ship's communication system. This is the moment we've trained for our entire lives. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars. All stations prepare for Revelation Protocol. Let's show these aliens what we're really made of. The alien fleet was now halfway to Earth, moving in perfect formation. Their sensors swept the planet continuously, looking for any sign of advanced technology or hidden weapons. They found nothing that worried them. Sir, reported the tactical officer on the Eternal Conquest. Detailed scans of the planet show no orbital defense platforms, no military satellites, and no spacecraft larger than their primitive chemical rockets. This will be simpler than we thought. What they didn't know was that their sensors were being fooled by the most advanced camouflage technology in the galaxy. Every human ship, every defense platform, every weapon system was hidden behind illusions that made them invisible to alien instruments. General Yu Jin checked her countdown timer. 3 minutes to revelation. All underground cities seal blast doors and activate shields. All surface personnel, take cover in prepared positions. Across Earth, 50 billion people moved to safety with the calm efficiency of a population that had practiced this drill 1,000 times. Everyone knew their role. Everyone was ready. On the surface, the few million humans still visible to alien sensors continued their normal activities. They drove cars, worked in offices, and walked through parks. To the aliens, Earth looked like any other primitive world, unaware of the massive fleet approaching from space. Pilot Hae-won sat in the cockpit of her fighter, the Morning Star, hidden inside what looked like a small asteroid. She was part of Captain Dongmin's Phantom Squadron, humanity's elite strike force. Her ship was invisible, silent, and armed with weapons that could punch through alien armor like paper. All Phantom pilots, this is Dongmin, came the captain's voice over their secure channel. Revelation begins in 60 seconds. Remember your training. Stay calm, stay focused, and show these aliens why you never underestimate humanity. The alien fleet was now close enough to Earth to begin their demands for surrender. Commander Bae-hyun prepared to transmit the standard message that had worked on dozens of other worlds. People of Earth, he began, his words being broadcast on every human frequency. This is Commander Bei Hyun of the Galactic Authority. Your world is now under our protection. Surrender your governments and prepare for integration into our empire. Resistance is futile. You have 1 hour to comply. In the deep command center, General Yu Jin listened to the alien transmission with cold satisfaction. They want our surrender, she announced to her staff. I think it's time we gave them our answer. She pressed a single button on her command console. Across Earth, the Revelation Protocol activated. The planet's surface began to change. What looked like ordinary hills and forests suddenly split open, revealing massive launch bays hidden underneath. The ocean itself seemed to part as underwater. Facilities rose to the surface, their hulls gleaming with weapons and armor. From the moon came the deepest rumble ever heard in space. The satellite's entire surface cracked and fell away like an eggshell, revealing the largest shipyard in human history. Thousands of warships emerged from lunar construction bays, their hulls shining with fresh armor and advanced weapons. Mars followed seconds later. The red planet's crust shattered and peeled back, showing a hollow world filled with the largest ships humanity had ever built. Vessels the size of cities launched from Martian shipyards, their engines lighting up space with blue fire. Even Venus joined the revelation. The cloud-covered world split open to reveal atmospheric processors and manufacturing centers that had been building weapons for 30 years. Fighter craft poured out of Venusian factories like angry hornets from a disturbed hive. But the greatest surprise came from Earth itself. The blue planet's continents cracked along prepared lines, revealing that the entire world had been converted into a massive fortress. Defense platforms the size of mountains rose from hidden positions. Weapon systems that could destroy moons charged their power cells. Shield generators that could protect entire continents hummed to life. On the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, every alien officer stared in shock at their instruments. The primitive world they had come to conquer was revealing itself as the most heavily defended system any of them had ever seen. "Sir," stammered the tactical officer, "I'm reading massive energy signatures from every world in this system. Ships are launching from positions we never detected. Weapons systems are coming online everywhere." Commander Bei Hyun couldn't believe what he was seeing. "How many ships?" he demanded. I can't get an accurate count, sir. At least 10,000, maybe more. They were hidden so well our sensors never detected them." The revelation was happening all around the alien fleet. Human ships that had been disguised as asteroids and debris suddenly activated their engines and weapons. The space around Earth, filled with vessels that shouldn't have existed, armed with technology the aliens didn't recognize. Admiral Hyunwoo opened a channel to the alien fleet. His message was broadcast on every frequency, translated into every known galactic language. "Commander Bei Hyun," he said calmly, "this is Admiral Hyunwoo of the Earth Defense Force. Thank you for giving us 30 years to prepare for your arrival. Your offer of surrender is noted, but we have a counter-proposal." The Admiral paused, letting his words sink in among the alien crews who were frantically trying to understand what had just happened to their easy conquest. "You have 1 hour to leave our solar system," Hyunwoo continued. "Any ship that remains after that time will be destroyed. We are no longer the primitive world you remember. We are humanity, and we are ready for the galaxy." Scientist Tae-ho worked frantically at his communication console in the deep command center. "General, I'm intercepting alien communications. Their entire fleet is in panic. They're calling for reinforcements from a dozen star systems." General Yujin nodded grimly. "Expected. Signal all fleet commanders. Prepare for full-scale battle. The aliens won't leave peacefully, and their reinforcements will arrive soon. We need to make our point clear before more ships arrive." "Captain," Dongmin's voice crackled over the radio to his Phantom squadron. "All pilots, you are cleared for attack runs. Target their command ships first. Let's show them what human pilots can do." Pilot Haewon fired her engines and shot out of her asteroid hiding place. Around her, 50 of humanity's best pilots emerged from concealment like ghosts materializing in space. Their ships were smaller than alien fighters, but faster and more maneuverable than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The first human attack came without warning. Phantom Squadron ships appeared among the alien formation like deadly shadows, their weapons cutting through alien hulls with surgical precision. In seconds, A dozen alien ships were disabled or destroyed. "Impossible!" shouted the tactical officer on the Eternal Conquest. "Those ships are moving faster than our instruments can track. How are they doing that?" Commander Bae-hyun was learning the first lesson about fighting humans. Never underestimate their ability to innovate. While the aliens had spent centuries using the same old technology, humanity had been advancing at an incredible pace. Engineer Yoon-ji monitored the battle from her station on the Silent Guardian. "All human ships performing perfectly, Admiral. Our adaptive systems are learning alien weapon patterns and adjusting defenses automatically." This was humanity's greatest advantage. Their ships could literally learn during battle, adapting to enemy tactics and improving their own performance in real time. It was technology that no other species. News of humanity's emergence spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within hours of the battle at Earth, every major civilization knew that something unprecedented had happened. The primitive world that had been marked for easy conquest had revealed itself as the most dangerous military force anyone had ever seen. Ambassador Kyung-ho stood in the newly constructed diplomatic center on Earth's surface, preparing for humanity's first official contact with the Galactic Council. The building had been hidden underground for 20 years, waiting for this moment. Now it rose from the ground like a crystal flower, its walls displaying the flags of every known galactic civilization. "Sir," announced his aide, "we're receiving communication requests from 47 different star systems. Everyone wants to talk to us now." Kyung-ho smiled. It was amazing how quickly humanity's status had changed from primitive target to must contact immediately. Fear, it seemed, was an excellent motivator for diplomacy. On the bridge of her flagship, the Harmony, Admiral Sun-hee prepared for humanity's first interstellar expedition. Her fleet of 12 ships was ready to visit nearby star systems, not as conquerors, but as explorers and potential allies. Each ship contained the most advanced technology humanity had ever built, but also carried doctors, scientists, and teachers. "All ships report ready for departure, Admiral," announced Captain Woo Jin, her second in command. "The quantum drives are charged and navigation systems are locked onto our target coordinates." Sun-hee nodded. "Signal Earth Control. Tell them we're beginning humanity's first diplomatic mission to the stars. Let's show the galaxy what we're really about." The Harmony and her sister ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, carrying human ambassadors to 12 different worlds. Their mission was simple: make contact, gather information, and show the galaxy that humanity was more than just a military threat. Meanwhile, in the Great Council chambers of Nexus Prime, the galactic capital, an emergency session was in progress. Representatives from hundreds of worlds had gathered to discuss what everyone was calling the human problem. Chancellor Valdris, leader of the ancient Alterian Empire, called the session to order. His species had controlled the galaxy for over 2,000 years, and they were not pleased to see their authority challenged. "Fellow representatives," he began, his voice echoing through the vast chamber, "we face an unprecedented crisis. A species we believe to be primitive has revealed military capabilities that exceed our own. We must decide how to respond to this threat." The reaction from different species varied dramatically. Some, like the warlike Kreks, demanded immediate military action. Others, like the peaceful Zenari, suggested negotiation and coexistence. A few smaller species remained silent, but their representatives seemed more curious than afraid. Representative Thane of the Kreks Empire slammed his fist on his speaking podium. "These humans must be destroyed before they become an even greater threat. We should gather every ship in the galaxy and crush them now, while we still can." But Representative Lyra of the Zenari Union disagreed. "Violence will only prove to the humans that we are exactly what they expected us to be. Perhaps it's time we learned from a species that chose preparation over aggression." The debate raged for hours, with no clear consensus emerging. Some wanted war, others wanted peace, and many simply wanted to ignore the humans and hope they would stay in their own star system. Dr. Miran worked tirelessly in her research facility on Earth, studying intercepted alien communications and trying to understand the psychology of different galactic species. Her work would be crucial for humanity's diplomatic efforts. "Ambassador," she reported to Kyung-ho, "I'm seeing some interesting patterns in the alien responses. The older, more established civilizations are terrified of us, but many of the younger species seem excited. I think we might have more potential allies than we realized." This was exactly what humanity had hoped for. The galaxy was not a unified empire, but a collection of different species with different goals and different fears. Some had been oppressed by the older civilizations for centuries, waiting for someone strong enough to challenge the existing order. Captain Wu Jin's first contact mission to the Cathari system was a perfect example. The Cathari were a young species, only recently discovered by the Galactic Council. They had been forced to give up most of their resources to support the older civilizations, leaving their own people poor and struggling. When the human ships arrived in Cathari space, they were met by a small defense fleet of outdated ships. The Cathari expected either conquest or demands for tribute, just like every other visit from galactic powers. Instead, Captain Wu Jin opened communications with a message that surprised everyone. "People of Cathari," he said, "we are humans from the world called Earth. We come not as conquerors but as potential friends. We would like to learn about your culture and share our own knowledge with you." The response was immediate and emotional. For the first time in their history, the Cathari were being treated as equals by a major galactic power. Captain Wu Jin spent 3 days in orbit around the Cathari homeworld. Human doctors helped treat diseases that had plagued the Cathari for generations. Human engineers showed them how to build more efficient power systems. Human teachers shared advanced mathematics and science. When the human ships finally left Cathari space, they carried with them not tribute or conquered territory, but friendship and mutual respect. The Cathari immediately sent secret messages to other oppressed species, telling them about the humans who treated everyone as equals. Back on Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was growing more divided by the day. Reports were coming in from multiple star systems about human contact missions. Instead of the military invasions everyone expected, the humans were offering help, friendship, and advanced technology. Chancellor Valdris was becoming increasingly frustrated. "These humans are undermining the natural order of the galaxy," he declared. "For thousands of years we have maintained peace through strength and hierarchy. Now they come with their ideas of equality and cooperation, turning our subjects against us." But Representative Lyra had a different perspective. "Perhaps the problem is not with the humans but with our own methods. When was the last time any of our species made a genuine breakthrough in science or technology? When did we last explore new regions of space or attempt ambitious projects?" She was right, and many representatives knew it. The galaxy had become stagnant under the rule of the ancient civilizations. Fear of change and obsession with maintaining power had led to centuries of stagnation. Now humanity offered something the galaxy hadn't seen in a very long time: progress. Dr. Miran's analysis confirmed what many had suspected. "Ambassador, the galactic civilization has been in decline for over 800 years. They've focused so much on maintaining control that they've forgotten how to grow and innovate. That's why our rapid advancement scares them so much. This gave humanity a tremendous opportunity. Instead of trying to fit into the existing galactic order, they could offer something better. A new way of doing things based on cooperation, innovation, and mutual respect." Admiral Sun He's diplomatic missions were proving this point across a dozen star systems. Everywhere human ships went, they found species that were tired of the old ways and eager for change. The Nexari had been forced to mine dangerous crystals for the Alterians for 300 years. The Valdek had given up their best farmland to feed the Krex military. The Theros had been prevented from developing advanced technology to keep them dependent on galactic trade. All of these species welcomed the humans with open arms. Finally, someone was offering them a choice. "Admiral," reported Captain Wu Jin, "from the Bridge of the Harmony, we've now made contact with all 12 target species. Every single one has expressed interest in closer relations with humanity. 3 have formally requested protection from their current overlords." This was the news Ambassador Kyung-ho had been waiting for. "Signal the fleet to return to Earth. It's time for Phase 2 of our diplomatic mission. Phase 2 would be much more ambitious. Instead of just making contact, humanity would begin building a network of allied species. They would offer protection to those who needed it, technology to those who wanted it, and friendship to those who sought it. Back on Nexus Prime, panic was setting in among the older civilizations. Their scouts reported that human influence was spreading rapidly among the younger species. Worlds that had been loyal tributaries for centuries were suddenly questioning their obligations to the galactic hierarchy. "We must act now," declared Representative Thane of the Krex, "before the humans turn half the galaxy against us." But Chancellor Valdris was more cautious. The reports from the failed invasion of Earth showed that humanity's military capabilities were far beyond anything the galaxy possessed. A direct military confrontation would likely end in disaster for the established powers. "We need more information," he decided. "Send diplomatic missions to Earth. Find out what the humans really want. Maybe we can negotiate some kind of arrangement that preserves our authority." Dr. Miran intercepted these communications within hours. "They're scared," she reported to Ambassador Kyung-ho. "The old powers are finally realizing that their time might be coming to an end. They want to negotiate." Kyung-ho nodded. The old galactic powers were not willing to give up their control without a fight. While diplomats talked peace on Earth, military leaders across the galaxy prepared for war. They had decided that if they couldn't negotiate humanity back into submission, they would have to destroy them before their influence spread any further. Fleet Admiral Sang-woo stood on the command deck of the Defiant, humanity's newest and most powerful warship. Intelligence reports showed 3 separate alien coalitions gathering their forces for simultaneous attacks on human colonies. The plan was simple: strike at multiple targets at once, forcing humanity to spread their forces thin and reveal weaknesses. "Admiral," reported his tactical officer, "we're detecting massive fleet movements in the Alterian, Krex, and Valdorian sectors. At least 2,000 ships total, all converging on our outer colonies." Sang-woo studied the tactical displays with calm confidence. The aliens thought they were being clever, but humanity had been preparing for exactly this scenario. The colonies they planned to attack were not helpless outposts, but carefully prepared defensive positions. Captain Ji-hai worked frantically in the experimental weapons lab deep inside Earth's core. Her team had spent years developing humanity's most advanced combat technologies, waiting for the day they would be needed. That day had finally arrived. "Admiral Sang-woo," she reported over the secure communication channel, "all experimental systems are ready for field testing. The self-repair modules, adaptive armor, and quantum weapons are prepared for immediate deployment." The first attack came at the Kepler 442 system, where humanity had established their newest colony. The Alterian Empire sent 300 ships, expecting to find a lightly defended farming world with maybe a few patrol vessels for protection. Instead, they found Major Chan-woo's 3rd Colonial Defense Force waiting for them. "All stations, battle positions," Major Chan-woo announced calmly, as the alien fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. "Remember your training. These aliens have never faced humans in real combat. Let's show them what they're dealing with." The human defense force consisted of only 50 ships, but each one was a masterpiece of advanced engineering. As the alien fleet approached, the human vessels began to demonstrate capabilities that the aliens had never seen before. When alien weapons struck human ships, the damage began repairing itself within seconds. Hull breaches sealed automatically. Destroyed. Weapon systems regrew from backup components. Disabled engines restarted using emergency power cores. Captain Ji-hai watched the battle data from her lab on Earth. "Incredible," she muttered to her assistant, Engineer In-ho. "The self-repair systems are working even better than we hoped. The ships are actually learning from the damage and becoming more resistant to repeated attacks." But the most shocking discovery came when the aliens tried to disable human ships by targeting their power systems. Instead of going dark, the human vessels began absorbing energy directly from alien weapon strikes, using it to power their own systems. "Sir," reported the tactical officer on the Alterian flagship, "our weapons are actually making their ships stronger. How is that possible?" It was possible because humanity had spent 30 years studying alien technology and learning to turn every advantage against them. Human ships were designed not just to survive alien attacks but to benefit from them. The Battle of Kepler 442 lasted only 3 hours. When it was over, the Altairian fleet was in full retreat, having lost over half their ships while destroying exactly 0 human vessels. Major Chan Wu's force had not only defended their colony, but had captured several alien ships for study. The second attack, on the mining colony at Wolf 359, went even worse for the aliens. The Krex Empire sent 400 ships, confident that their superior numbers would overwhelm any human defense. They were wrong. Fleet Admiral Sang Wu had arrived at Wolf 359 hours before the alien attack, bringing with him humanity's newest secret weapon, consciousness transfer technology. All pilots, he announced over the fleet communication system, remember that death is no longer permanent. If your ship is destroyed, your consciousness will be immediately transferred to a backup body. Fight without fear. Fight with everything you have. This technology changed everything about space combat. Human pilots could take risks that would be suicidal for any other species. They could ram enemy ships, fly into weapon fields, or sacrifice themselves to protect their comrades, knowing that they would wake up in a new body within hours. The psychological effect on the alien crews was devastating. They watched human ships perform impossible maneuvers, survive impossible attacks, and continue fighting even when they should have been destroyed. To the aliens, it seemed like they were fighting ghosts or demons. "Sir," reported a panicked Krex officer, "the human ships are not behaving like any military force we've ever encountered. They're fighting like they can't be killed." That was exactly right. For the first time in galactic history, a species had conquered death itself, at least in military terms. Human warriors were truly immortal, limited only by the number of backup bodies they had prepared. The third attack on the research station at Proxima Centauri never even reached its target. The Valdorian Confederation sent 600 ships, the largest force they had assembled in centuries. They expected to destroy the human research facility and capture its advanced technology for themselves. Instead, they flew directly into Engineer, Inho's greatest creation, a self-replicating construction swarm. The swarm consisted of millions of tiny robots, each no larger than a coin, programmed to build copies of themselves using any available materials. Inho had released them into the Proxima system weeks earlier, where they had been quietly converting asteroids and space debris into defensive platforms. "Admiral," Inho reported to Fleet Admiral Sang Wu, "the swarm has constructed over 10,000 defensive platforms throughout the Proxima system. Each one is armed and ready for combat." When the Valdorian fleet arrived, they found themselves surrounded by an army of automated defenders that had literally built themselves from cosmic dust. The platforms were small and individually weak, but there were so many of them that they could overwhelm any force through sheer numbers. The Valdorian admiral tried to fight his way through the swarm, but for every platform his ships destroyed, 2 more took its place. The construction robots worked faster than the aliens could destroy them, constantly building new defenses and repairing damaged ones. "This is impossible," the Valdorian admiral shouted at his officers. "How can we fight an enemy that builds itself during battle?" The answer was simple. They couldn't. The self-replicating swarm represented a level of technology that the galaxy had never seen before. Within hours, the Valdorian fleet was forced to retreat, leaving behind dozens of ships that had been disabled by the endless waves of defenders. News of the 3 defeats spread across the galaxy faster than the retreating alien fleets. In a single day, humanity had faced the combined military might of the galaxy's greatest powers and emerged completely victorious. Dr. Miran analyzed the alien communications from her research center on Earth. "Ambassador Kyung Ho," she reported, "the alien leadership is in complete panic. They're calling emergency sessions, demanding explanations, and blaming each other for the failures. But the most important development was happening among the younger species. The oppressed civilizations that had been forced to serve the galactic powers for centuries saw the defeats as proof that change was possible." "Sir," reported Captain Wu Jin from his diplomatic ship, "we're receiving requests for protection from 18 different species. They want to join a human-led alliance against their former overlords. This was exactly what humanity had hoped for. They had not sought conquest or domination, but they were willing to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy was reshaping itself around human principles of cooperation and mutual defense. Fleet Admiral Sang-Woo prepared for the next phase of human expansion. "All fleet commanders," he announced, "prepare for liberation operations. We're not going to wait for the aliens to attack us again. It's time to free the oppressed worlds and show the galaxy what real strength looks like." The liberation of the Nexari crystal mines was humanity's first major offensive operation. For 300 years, the Nexari had been forced to mine dangerous energy crystals for the Alterian Empire, working in conditions that killed thousands of miners every year. Major Chan-Woo led the ground assault on the mining planet while Fleet Admiral Sang-Woo dealt with the Alterian orbital defenses. The operation was planned as a demonstration of human capabilities, fast, precise, and devastating to enemy forces, while protecting civilian populations. "All units," Major Chan-Woo announced as his ships entered Nexari space. "Remember that we are here to liberate, not conquer. Every Nexari life saved is more important than any military objective." The Alterian defenders were completely unprepared for human ground combat tactics. Human soldiers moved faster than alien sensors could track, struck harder than alien armor could resist, and coordinated better than any military force in galactic history. In 6 hours, the Nexari mining world was free. The Alterian occupying force had been defeated so completely that most of them surrendered without a fight. The Nexari people emerged from their underground shelters. 6 months after the liberation wars ended, President Min-Soo stood before the largest gathering in galactic history. Representatives from over 300 species had come to Earth for the founding of the Free Species Alliance. The old Galactic Council was gone, dissolved by its own member worlds who had voted to join humanity's vision of a better galaxy. The ceremony took place in the Grand Assembly Hall, a magnificent structure that had risen from Earth's surface like a crystal mountain. Inside, beings from across the galaxy sat together as equals for the first time in anyone's memory. Former enemies worked side by side. Ancient rivals shared their knowledge freely. Species that had been oppressed for centuries now had voices that mattered. "Today," President Min-Soo announced, his words being translated into over 200 languages, "we begin a new chapter in galactic history. Not as conquerors and conquered, not as rulers and subjects, but as partners in the greatest adventure the universe has ever seen." Admiral Hyojin watched the ceremony from the Bridge of the Unity, the flagship of the new integrated galactic defense force. Her fleet contained ships from dozens of different species, all working together under human leadership. It was a sight that would have been impossible just a year ago. "Admiral," reported her tactical officer, a young Nexari named Krell, "all defense stations report ready. The outer perimeter is secure, and our sensor networks are fully operational." The new Galactic Defense Force was unlike anything that had existed before. Instead of being controlled by a few powerful species, it was truly integrated, with every member world contributing according to their abilities and receiving protection according to their needs. Dr. Jae-won worked tirelessly in his research laboratory, now the center of galactic scientific cooperation. Scientists from hundreds of worlds shared their knowledge and worked together on projects that no single species could have attempted alone. "President Min-Soo," he reported, "the joint research programs are exceeding all expectations. The Theros mathematical models combined with Nexari crystal technology and human adaptive systems have produced breakthrough discoveries in faster-than-light travel, energy generation, and even artificial gravity control. This was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, the ability to bring different species together and help them achieve more as a group than they ever could alone." While the old galactic powers had maintained their control by keeping species separate and suspicious of each other, humanity united them in common purpose. Captain Subin prepared for the launch of the first mixed-species exploration fleet. Her ship, the New Horizon, carried crew members from 12 different worlds, all working together to explore regions of space that had never been visited before. All stations report ready for departure. announced her first officer, a Kethari engineer named Vex. The quantum drives are charged and all crew members are prepared for extended deep space operations. This exploration fleet represented everything the new Galactic Order stood for. Instead of conquest or exploitation, they were driven by curiosity and the desire to learn. Instead of claiming new worlds for powerful empires, they would offer friendship and alliance to any species they encountered. The transformation of galactic civilization had been remarkably peaceful. Once humanity demonstrated that the old powers could be defeated, most worlds had simply declared independence and joined the Free Species Alliance. The few that tried to maintain the old ways found themselves isolated and ignored by their former subjects. Chancellor Valdris of the former Alterian Empire had been one of the last to accept the new reality. He now served as a regional representative. In the Alliance, his ancient empire reduced to a few dozen worlds that had chosen to remain loyal to the old ways. "I still don't understand how it happened so quickly," he confessed to Ambassador Kyung-ho during a private meeting. Thousands of years of galactic order, overturned in less than a year. Kyung-ho smiled gently. "The order wasn't overturned, Chancellor. It was replaced by something better. Your empire lasted so long because there was no alternative. Once people saw that cooperation worked better than domination, the choice was obvious. The economic transformation was just as dramatic as the political one. The old system of tribute and forced trade was replaced by voluntary cooperation and mutual benefit. Species that had been forced to give up their resources now traded freely and fairly. Worlds that had been kept primitive to maintain dependence now received advanced technology and education. Engineer Inho had established manufacturing centers throughout the galaxy, each one designed to help local species develop their own industrial capabilities. Instead of keeping technological secrets, humanity shared their knowledge freely, helping every world reach its full potential. President Minsu, he reported, "Industrial production across the galaxy has increased by over 300% in just 6 months. When species are allowed to develop freely instead of being held back, their progress is incredible." But the greatest change was in the way different species viewed each other. The old galaxy had been built on fear, suspicion, and the belief that one species' gain required another's loss. The new galaxy was built on trust, cooperation, and the understanding that everyone benefited when everyone succeeded. Dr. Miran studied the psychological and cultural changes happening across the galaxy. "Ambassador," she reported to Kyung-ho, "we're seeing the emergence of a truly galactic culture for the first time. Species are learning from each other, adopting the best ideas from different worlds, and developing new forms of art, music, and literature that combine elements from multiple civilizations. This cultural renaissance was one of humanity's greatest achievements. By bringing different species together as equals, they had unleashed a wave of creativity and innovation that was transforming every aspect of galactic life." Captain Subin's exploration fleet made first contact with a previously unknown species in the Andromeda sector. The Keth were a peaceful people who had been hiding from galactic civilization for centuries, afraid that contact would lead to conquest or enslavement. "We come in peace," Subin transmitted to the Keth ships that approached her fleet cautiously. "We are the Free Species Alliance, and we offer friendship and cooperation to all peaceful peoples." The Keth response was hesitant but hopeful. "We have heard stories of a new power in the galaxy," came their reply. "Stories of those who liberate instead of conquer, who offer partnership instead of demanding submission. Are these stories true?" "They are true," Subin replied. "Would you like to see for yourself?" Within days, a Keth delegation was on its way to Earth, eager to learn about the alliance that had transformed galactic civilization. They were the first of many new species that would join the growing community of free worlds. The old galactic powers still existed, but they were no longer the dominant force in galactic affairs. Some, like the Alterian Empire, had joined the alliance as equal members. Others, like the Krex Confederation, maintained their independence but cooperated with alliance policies. A few isolated groups still tried to maintain the old ways, but they found themselves increasingly irrelevant in the new galactic order. Admiral Hyojin received a priority communication from the outer sensor networks. "Admiral, reported the communication officer. Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures from beyond the galactic rim. Whatever it is, it's bigger than anything we've ever seen before. This was the discovery that would define the next phase of galactic history. The sensors had detected signs of another galaxy approaching their own, and preliminary analysis suggested it contained a civilization far more advanced than anything in the local galaxy. All Alliance worlds, Admiral Hyojin announced over the Emergency Communication Network. This is Admiral Hyojin of the Galactic Defense Force. We have detected what appears to be an external threat approaching from beyond our galaxy. All member worlds are requested to prepare for possible first contact with an unknown civilization. President Min-Soo called an emergency session of the Alliance Council. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered on Earth within hours, united by the knowledge that they might be facing the greatest challenge in galactic history. My fellow sentients, President Min-Soo addressed the assembly, we have spent the last year learning to work together as equals. Now we face our first test as a united galaxy. Whatever comes from beyond our borders, we will face it together. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every member world pledged their support for whatever action the Alliance decided to take. The unity that humanity had helped create would now be tested against an external threat that could determine the survival of galactic civilization itself. Dr. Jae Won worked around the clock to analyze the approaching energy signatures. President Min-Soo, he reported, the external civilization appears to be far more advanced than we are. Their energy output suggests technology beyond anything we've developed. But there's something else. The approach pattern suggests they're not hostile. They're moving slowly, broadcasting on multiple frequencies and taking care to avoid populated star systems. This news gave the Alliance hope. If the approaching civilization was peaceful, it might represent an opportunity for even greater cooperation and advancement. If it was hostile, at least the galaxy would face it as a